Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I'm doing a little bit of a live video to sneak preview some very interesting stuff. Both that's on my table for review, recent pickups, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I figured I'd just go ahead and do that, and then in the process, as always, I'm going to do an Ask the Nick. Because, you know, why not? People seem to enjoy them, and it brings me some joy. So, I'm seeing people starting to go ahead and I'm getting questions I already don't understand, but coming in, and thank you very much, everybody, for joining me here tonight. So, first off, I want to start off by showing off something that's a little bit weird. This is a relatively new knife, and it's called the Spyderco Meerkat. I know what you're thinking, but Nick, it looks a lot like a dragonfly or something like that, and indeed, it does look a lot like a dragonfly. Here it is next to your Spyderco Dragonfly. The thing is, though, it has one fancy little trick. Open the knife. Well, that's weird. There's nothing on there. It turns out that the way that you open and close this knife is a little bit different. To close this knife, what you do is you press the scale down in this direction. And as you can see, when I press the scale, watch the spine here. When I press the scale, it pops the back lock up just a little bit here, and that actually allows it to unlock. This is very similar to the mechanism, believe it or not, on the Stan Wilson non-flipper flipper, except in his case it's the bolster on one side that undoes the back lock, but here it's the overall scale, and it's actually kind of a cool little mechanism. It is very thick, absolutely 100%, but at the same time, take a look. I mean, the fact that you can completely one-hand this guy without any of the weirdness of, you know, if I one-hand the Dragonfly or something like that, it's a little bit more weird. But with this guy, all I need to do is apply a little pressure and then the back lock undoes. And so you can very, very easily, you know, it's not going anywhere. There's not a big problem, but it's very easy to open and close. It's got some disappointing features. Namely, it is unfortunately tip down only, which seems like a little bit of a strange choice to me. I don't entirely get that. Perhaps it's because the detent on this is relatively soft, but even still, I don't quite understand it. And detent doesn't matter so much on back. But anyways, it's a neat little knife, and it's very different than I think anything I'm aware of Spyderco doing. But they could have done something like this in the past. It's a very neat idea. So that's great. A couple of other things that are brand new. Accidental unlock during use, Jacob Aldridge says. No, Jacob, I don't see that happening for a couple of reasons. If you're using this, and particularly if you're cutting hard on it, a lot of what you're going to be doing is having your thumb pressing down against this. And remember, the scale needs to go in this direction for it to open up. And so if you're using this, if you're actually cutting, I think there's going to be a lot more energy being pushed down into this scale than there is being pushed back up. People are asking me if this is a brand new type of lock. No, I don't think so. It may be in the legally different sense, as in we've made modifications, but I've seen, like I said, this is not dissimilar from what you get on like the Stan Wilson bolster lock, back lock thing. I don't think it's a brand new idea, but it is a new implementation. So yeah, what about if you unlock it while gripping tightly? Yeah, no, that's just not happening for me. So it's a neat little idea. Hey, Sid, good to see you. Can I show the mechanism on the Hawk knife on the left? I sure can. This guy is a major surprise to me. This guy is the TAD Dauntless, and it's the G&G Hawk Mid-Tech Edition. So the idea here is that they have done a knife that I liked a lot, the TAD Dauntless, but they've done a collaboration with the Hawks, Grant and Gavin Hawk, who I really like. By and large, they do crazy things, so I like them very much as humans. And so, oh, interesting, it's telling me I have a very bad connection. That's really disappointing. Wow. Sorry about this, guys. I have no idea what's going on right now. But anyways, I'm going to just try and fight through it here. Why is this bad? Hold on just a second, guys. Let's see if I can't stop this from being bad. No idea what's up here. Yeah, seems fixed now. Okay, good. I have no idea what YouTube's doing. I'm still getting a very bad connection message over here, but hopefully it's good. Anyways, this little guy is a collaboration between Triple Art Design, TAD, and the Hawks, and what it's using is something very different. Nick broke the internet. That's nice. What it's using is a very different locking mechanism. It's a conventional flipper here, which is nice. Okay, good. YouTube is no longer complaining at me. It's a conventional flipper sort of knife, but then it's using this locking mechanism, which is the Hawk toggle lock. I've seen it before in some other knives, or at least I've seen locks that look a lot like this. For instance, the Camillus Blaze Fire and Heat, or something along those lines, or Wildfire, I think. But I've seen a similar toggle sort of lock, but I wouldn't be shocked if this one were a little bit different. But the thing is, this is a really compelling knife in a lot of ways. There's a lot of joy to be found here. Just in my initial impressions, I have not done a full review yet. Maybe there's some more good, bad, and ugly that I haven't found quite yet. But the thing is, this is very, very neat, because not only is the flipping action great, I mean, it's got a very solid detent, but this lock is beautiful, because once you disengage it, the blade falls shut with an alarming freaking alacrity. And this is really, really neat. And they've done, I think, a better job of doing the detent than they did even on the Hawk, which, I'm sorry, not the Hawk, the Mud. And you're right, this is probably a variant of the Mud. This is not, however, similar to the Axis lock. On the Axis lock, here, let me pull up a conventional Axis lock knife for you real quick. Come here, Axis lock. No. Come on, Benchmade. Don't fight me here. Sorry, guys, just trying to find one amidst all the many, many knives. I'm a very, very lucky man. Here we go. I think this is one. No, damn it. That's not gonna do. Come here. Here we are. Perfect. Perfect. All right, there you go. So this is an Axis lock knife. This is the Benchmade 710. I'm going to be reviewing this guy here one of these days, but just need to get around to it. But anyways, the Axis lock uses a bar that goes across the top of the blade. And so we can see here that when I pull the Axis lock back, this bar is moving. And so it's ambidextrous. It's going straight through there. And then to lock the blade up, this bar slips right up onto the top there. This is something that's very, very different. People are offering to take some knives off my hands. Most of those aren't actually mine. They're knives that have been donated to the channel that I need to get around to reviewing. But anyways, this guy has no lock across the top there. I mean, we can see here that as I toggle this, nothing's moving. Everything that's moving is moving inside the scale here. And so that's very nice. And so it's not an Axis lock. It's very different in that way. And in fact, it's a lot easier to use than an Axis lock, just because all it takes is a little tiny thumb effort, and then it's, you know, completely broken free. But look, it's a great freaking lock. I'm a big, big fan of it. Love, love, love this freaking lock. And the knife itself has got a lot of good going for it. It's relatively thin behind the edge, at least way more so than the original Dauntless. The blade on its XHP. I don't love the clip, but in some ways I find it a little more palatable here than I have historically. It's well-oriented, and I don't know, for some reason it's not bugging me as much as it normally does. This Hawk clip is very adjustable, so in order to put it into your pants, you need to lift it up there. It's still a little snaggy, but it's, I don't know, for some reason I'm more okay with it than usual here. We'll see how that lasts as I carry it more. But anyways, this is a knife that I ordered just because it was like I saw this on TAD's site and was just like, oh, damn it, the Hawks made, I guess. And so I figured I'd be taking a bath here, but I actually really like it. There's a lot of joy to be found here. So anyways, that's one Snick preview. I'm getting a lot of questions about this Spyderco right here. This is the Spyderco Centofante, or Centofante, I don't know quite now how it's pronounced. But this guy is on loan from my buddy Steven, who, as is this guy actually, who sent this guy along. And this is a very interesting knife. It is VG10. It is pinned construction, which is just killing me. I'm going to be real about that here. But the thing is, at the same time, there is a lot of good here. Oh, hold on. I forgot to turn on one of the lights in here. Well, there. Maybe a little much. But anyways, the pin construction is absolutely killing me, 100%. But the thing is, there's a lot going for it. One of the things is that it's really, really super freaking thin. Come here, Delica. It is actually thinner in terms of your blade stock than your Delica. Now, mind you, that's also, it's got a very sabery grind here, but it's hollow. I mean, this is pretty thin behind the edge. This is a very slicey little knife, and it's a pretty good cutting tool for what it is. Ergonomically speaking, it works nicely, and, you know, there's a lot of joy to be found here. I haven't done a full review, but immediately I'm loving the slicitude of that little guy. That's very nice. One slightly larger knife is this right here. This is the Spyderco Military. This is a knife that I have never ever had on the channel, and I'm kind of remiss in that. This is sort of one of Spyderco's stalwarts, but the thing is, it's freaking huge. Here, I'll move these other guys out of the way for a moment. This is absolutely freaking huge. If we hold it up next to the Paramilitary 2, the PM2, you can see here that the Military is ginormous. And if we put it next to a Delica, holy crap. And so this is a ridiculous knife in many ways. This is a sprint run of the Military that's in CPM M4 steel. M4 being a very, very excellent steel, although it's not terribly stainless. You can see some patina on there. But, yeah, that's interesting. Two things that are very kind of striking about it. One is that this is tip-down only carry, which doesn't bring me a lot of joy. And, you know, I can get it, given that the backside of the scales are entirely G10, so they don't really have a place to mount the clip into. But it's not super compelling. And then the other thing is the liner lock. This is not like the PM2, which uses the Spyderco compression lock. This is just using a liner lock. There's nothing particularly wrong with a liner lock, but if you are thinking, oh, the PM2's got a compression lock, so must the Military, no, it does not. The lockup, that said, is very solid. It's got very nice lock tension. It does flip open nicely. I mean, it's a nice knife for being, oh my god, freaking gigantic. But it is absolutely it's a little unusual for the channel. So looking forward to checking that out. A couple of other guys on the table right here. This is the steel wheel Cutjack in M390, the 3-inch version. This guy is on loan from my buddy Scott over in Hawaii. And right here it is next to its D2 comrade. This is the $40 version. This is the much more expensive one. And that's... well, that's kind of cool. Having these both right next to each other is very interesting and shows, well, some major differences. The biggest difference that I did not expect on this guy is that this guy is running on phosphor bronze washers, where I believe this guy here is running on bearings, which means that you just get a very different action on the M390 one. These are, in many ways, fundamentally different knives, and that's not something I appreciated fully. I figured that it was just the case that they put upgraded steel in the M390 version, but the knife was maybe, aside from G10 instead of FRN, the knife was fundamentally the same, but no, these are very, very different knives. And in fact, it's in some ways even odd that they're using the same model name. They're both compelling knives. They're both very different, but they are... they're very, very different in that way. And it's not just a size difference, I think. So, there you go. Somebody's asking me if I still have the Slysz Bowie. Oh, yeah, it's right here. It's never far. This is, as I've said many a time, this is a knife that if I could only have one knife, this would be pretty great. So, anyways, that's a very interesting little guy. And this one I'm going to be filming. I need to finally get around to filming these reviews on the Cutjacks here soon. I like them a lot, particularly the D2 $40 number. This is a pretty great value in terms of the everyday carry world. But, you know, it always takes me longer to say nice things than it does to say mean ones. You know, I want to make sure before I say really, really nice things. So, anyways, that's your Cutjack and your mini Cutjack here. For what it's worth, I prefer the mini Cutjack size. Oh, wow, no one saw that one coming. But there it is. For those of you coming in late, right here is the, just to list off these guys who are getting Snick Preview, this is the TAD plus Hawk, G&G Hawk Dauntless Mid-Tech. They have a terrible name for it. They just need to call it like the Daunt Hawk or something. I don't know. But either way, it's a really neat knife. Right here is the Wee Blitz, which is the next knife I'm going to talk a little bit about, first impression-wise, which is using real screws. Holy crap, it's incredible. Look at those screws. That's torques. I took this apart the other day, and it was like a freaking festival of angels broke out into song. Spyderco Centofante 3, which is completely not disassemblable. I hope these two don't rub off on each other. Military, there's the Meercat here. And very interesting, weird little knife. And then the steel wheel Cutjack and M390 and D2 steel. That brings us to this little guy, the Wee Knives Blitz. So this is, as far as I'm aware, the very first knife to hit U.S. soil from Wee Knives that's actually using real fasteners. Previously, Wee Knives has insisted on using these star-shaped screws that are just terrible, where the screws cam out on a regular basis, or the tool strips out, or it's freaking ugly, whatever it is. And so, seeing this knife with real screws on it brings me a lot of joy, and it's heartening. It's good to see that this company is learning things, and indeed they are learning things. It's really, really impressive to see that they're changing their course there, and it's going to make them a much more compelling force, I think, in the American knife market. If the Wee Knives are no longer handicapped by terrible, fasteners, I think they're going to be great. So these are actually Torx screws. There's no problem. It's T8 all around. T8, 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 so you only even need one bit. They've gone from having the worst screws in the business to some pretty decent ones. But still, this is indeed a liner lock knife, and there were a couple of things that make it a little bit less maybe appealing than you might initially expect. They've moved to a VG10 steel here relative to the D2 steel, which was on their budget line previously. Like the 617 is about the same price, but was using D2 instead of VG10, and for a lot of people, myself included, D2 performs a little bit better than VG10. The other thing that is really difficult about this guy, and that I can already tell is going to be ugly, is this texturing. I hope I can really adequately show you the three-dimensionality of this texturing, but I mean, seriously, look at this. This is hardcore, this texturing. I mean, it's cool in that if you're, out and about at a music thing and you need a sudden, washboard to play an instrument. This is a serious texturing, and unfortunately the serious texturing persists under the pocket clip. So this is a knife that I've enjoyed carrying, but that my pocket has not enjoyed carrying. So, yeah, this is a crazy amount of texturing. People have been asking me, like, how does it compare to Cold Steel's G10? This is Cold Steel's G10. This is fine. This is completely out of control. Like, the nice thing about this knife is that if I was, say, mountain climbing or ice climbing, and I started sliding down the slope, and I didn't have the time to deploy my knife, if I would have just slapped this down on the slope, it would give me enough friction that I could stop my fall and, save my own life. So in this way, this is a mountain safety rescue knife. Please do not use it in that way, and do not sue Nick Shabazz if you do. But anyways, it is a mountain rescue safety knife. Wee Knives needs to get into making crampons with this sort of texturing. Holy freaking crap. So yeah, that's the downside about this guy, and the price is a little up there, but you know what? I am willing to forgive a whole bunch for those damn screws, and if Wee Knives continues to do that, it's going to be great. Some other people are comparing it to Spyderco's FRN. This is a Spyderco Stretch in HAP 40. It's going to be auctioned off on the Patreon here one of these days. Thank you very much to my viewer Sid for this. But anyways, this is a knife with Spyderco's FRN in large swaths. But the thing about this is that Spyderco has done the right thing by, see this little flat portion here? It's the same thing on the other side, and that goes directly under the clip. And that makes a huge difference, because this means that as your pocket is sliding underneath the clip, it's sliding against this smooth surface rather than the rough one. And you can see they do the same thing on every one of their knives. The Delica, the clip goes right onto the smooth part. The Dragonfly, clip goes there. Native 5, clip goes onto the smooth portion. This is one of those smart little design things that I think, because Spyderco's been doing FRN forever, that they have learned and that Wee Knives hasn't quite mastered yet. So, yeah, there you go. That's a great question. Somebody is betting me $1 million to speak in a southern accent, but I don't know how you're going to pay me for that. And betting, well, what's the bet there? That I won't? Because I absolutely would, but that'd be for the $1 million, so, let me know. But anyways, I have no idea what people are on about with that. But otherwise, I've been just kind of, in many ways, I am a very lucky man in that I'm drowning in great gear. There's a lot of great stuff on my table and around my table that's coming up here. These are just some of the newest additions here, but I've got all kinds of other stuff that I still need to review, ranging from good, great, bad, and ugly. And I've been trying to do a bunch of other stuff that, well, should be very interesting. And so but there were nice surprises and there were negative surprises. I've had some stuff on my table lately that has been just terrible. I've had some stuff that's been just great, and a whole bunch right in the middle there. So, sorry. Feisty Taquito asks, if you don't mind me asking, how are the ergos on the fiancée? I do not quite know how to answer that one. Well, actually, no, I know exactly how to answer them. They're good. Case closed. Problem freaking solved. David Van der Stelt is asking me for a comment on the Cedric Ada saltwater test. So what he's referring to is there's a YouTube channel called Cedric Ada Gear and Outdoor. Sorry, I'm still looking about the ergos. Cedric Ada Gear and Outdoors, and is in many ways the channel. I respect so much what Peter is doing over there, because, you know, he takes a very, very, very hyper-functional view of things and does actual kind of backyard scientific testing. That wasn't like a backhanded compliment. It's not science, but my God, he's doing the scientific method. He's doing great with what he's got there, and I think that's a great approach. And so he's doing the rope cut tests. He's doing a great deal of, and he did this saltwater test the other day, where he's looking at corrosion resistance for many knives. And during the process of this, if you watch his video and then his follow-up and then his follow-up, he discovered that the Bach River knife that he had that he thought was in CPM 154 was actually in a non-stainless steel, probably A2. And Bach River had reached out to him since and offered to send him a new one in CPM 154. And I think he did it. He was very, very gentlemanly about it, perhaps way more than I would have been in the process. You know, and I think he's going to give the knife away to one of his local, to a smaller channel afterwards. And so that's great of him. But I think it's a great thing, and it's something that I honestly wish I had the time to do. If this were my actual full-time freaking job, and I know that it cannot be, just financially speaking, but that's the kind of thing I would like to get into doing a lot more of, is, you know, these kinds of real-world testing sorts of things. So, yeah, I think it's very interesting that he found that. It's unfortunately not the first time I've heard of that with Bach River, but they use a lot of metals, so I can understand how something like that could be an innocent issue there. But Cedric Ada is absolutely, well, Peter, that is, he's absolutely one of the better knife YouTubers out there, in my personal opinion. He does incredible freaking work, and if you're not subscribed to him yet, you need to right freaking now. He is probably better at this than I am. So, yeah. Loser is asking, that's his name, I'm not just ragging on the guy, is asking me whether the Cutjack in D2 is better than the Rat 2, Rat 1. That's a great question there, Loser. Sorry again. There are a lot of similarities here. I mean, the Rat 1 is great. The Rat 2, the Cutjack is very good too. They're both in D2 steel, and they're both available around the same price range. Practically speaking, they're very different knives. In some ways, at least for me, the Rat is slightly more ergonomic than the Cutjack is, although in this finger choil grip, it's pretty damn good. The steels are very, very good, both of them. They're both D2, obviously. Clip-wise, I think I prefer the Rat, but in many ways, this is going to come down to what you want out of life. If you want a flipper, and if you're willing to put up with the pocket pecker, which is honestly my biggest complaint with this knife, this flipper tab is a little bit huge. If you're willing to put up with that, then by God, you are going to love this knife. But you would also love this guy. I think they're both very good. So, I'll probably do a full video on that, but for the moment, I think it's honestly a wash. C. Wilson's asking if the Dauntless lock uses Omega springs. I actually don't know that yet. I'm very curious to see. I don't see an Omega spring wrapped around there, but I don't know that yet. So when I do my disassembly, I'm hoping to find out more about that. But yeah. Tristan Heath is asking me, do I ever find myself wishing I had a fully serrated knife? Only for bread. In my life and in my personal cutting tasks, a fully serrated knife drives me nuts. There are no cutting tasks that I do on a regular basis aside from bread, and that requires a bread knife that I have, big Victorinox bread number. that's the only time I want something that is fully serrated. I don't do a lot of rope cutting, which is one of the areas. I don't tend to need a stainless knife, and, you know, with H1 steel, serrations are a very good thing, because it'll tear long after it goes dull. And I don't have any of the other really serrated cutting needs. So for me, no, I've never felt myself wishing I want a serration. But that said, different grinds for different kinds. For some people, that's going to be helpful. Let's see here. Let's see here. Is Dauntless assisted? It is so quick. No, the Dauntless is not at all assisted. If you pop it out here, we can see. Just swings back and forth. No problem. And see, that's the funny thing. I'm not used to this yet, so I just went to close it like a frame lock. Got my thumb in here. But again, the joy here is that with this locking system, my hand never enters the slicing path, except, you know, when I'm using it. And there it works very nicely. So, yeah, that's a great question. God, I love the action on this thing. Very nicely made, too, I gotta say. My hat's off to TAD and whatever factory they used to build this. Well done. So anyways, how's the steel on the Norseman? How is its corrosion resistance? So the Grimsmo Norseman here is in a steel called RWL34. Now look, commenting on steel is the quickest way to get angry commenters. 100%. The moment you say something about steel, immediately there are 15-year-olds in the comments who are all metallurgists with PhDs and everything, and commenting about, you know, my complaints. I will say that RWL34 in the Norseman is in that category where it is fine. And anywhere else for that matter. It's fine. It's not the greatest in terms of edge holding. I'll say that 100%. There are very, very, very better steels out there in the world. And frankly, I would much prefer the Norseman to be in a steel like M390 or something like that. For my own purposes, I've had to sharpen my Rask and Norseman a lot more than I've had some of the other M390 kinds of things. People are already angry because I mentioned talking about steel. I just actually sharpened my Rask the other day. Did a mirror edge on it. You can see here I'm starting to get a little bit of the recurving because this needs a damn sharpening choil. But anyways, look, this steel is not so different than like CPM 154. It's a solid steel. It's good to go. It's fine. But for the prices that these guys command, it's a little bit less interesting. And in fact, I've heard that the Grimsmos have raised the prices on the Norseman as well for future runs from the maker. At some level, I can't say I blame them because, well, clearly they can fetch those kinds of prices, but at another level, I'm curious what that's going to look like once the bubble bursts. If they're really charging $900 for a Norseman now, that makes it a very different sort of an affair. So that's a very interesting thing. Brian Tinlin asks if I acquired a North Arm knife. They're backlogged for months. Yeah, I bought mine that I had from the review. So great question there. Let's see here. Nick, G10 equals carbon fiber. Just change glass fiber for carbon and there you go. Thoughts? No, not exactly. I mean, I'm not a materials scientist, but G10, you're right, is using a fiber. It's a fiberglass and resin sort of thing. And carbon fiber is a carbon and resin thing, but there's more structure to carbon fiber. My understanding is that they're not that equivalent. They're very different there. How much is the knife on the far left? This guy, okay, yeah, you're Dauntless. See, I have to look at L, because this hand says L. Like, I am left, right, not, I am differently abled in that way. This guy is expensive. I want to say it was like $450, and that's a lot of freaking money. Oh my God, is this a lot of money. But the thing is, compared to a lot of what else is out there, there's a lot of compelling here. The steel on this guy is XHP, and they've done sort of a blasted something on there, blasted wash. Maybe there's a little bit of acid on there. I don't know. It's still reflective. It's still shiny. It's okay. But, yeah, so there you go. And then the orange knife here is the Meerkat, as a bunch of people are asking already. By the way, just to let you guys know that if you are not getting your question answered, the way to do that is not by posting the question again in all caps. That just doesn't work well. So yeah, the Meerkat I talked about earlier, so when this guy goes live on the channel, you'll just want to watch the beginning of that. I think it's a very interesting knife, and there's a bunch of that. Jib Jab is asking what my favorite Spyderco Sprint Runner exclusive is. That's a really good question. I am partial to the Spyderco PM2 in carbon fiber and M4 steel. I like M4 a lot. It's not the most rust-resistant steel ever, But at the same time, it's very good at edge retention and very tough. So I've been a big fan, although I'm talking about steel. Oh, God. Here it comes. But anyways, I'm very much a fan of the PM2 in carbon fiber and M4. I actually ended up selling mine because I never carried my PM2, and that was a special knife, and it was a great knife. And it didn't feel right to have that on my table when it never got any love. So I sold it and then used the proceeds to buy this little guy here, which is just a vanilla PM2. And in many ways, it's actually helpful for me to just have a vanilla version of a knife on my table for comparison, because then people are going to look at this and they're going to go, oh, it's PM2. As opposed to with the carbon fiber, they're like, oh, every video that featured it had the question, oh, hey, Nick, what's the deal? Where'd you get that carbon fiber? This is just easier. So I think that may be my favorite, but yeah. Let's see here. 440 is greater than VG10. Oh, good Lord, I'm not getting into that. Let's see here. Ever handled a Zieba front flipper? No, I have not yet. I've handled some knives from Zieba Knives. And in fact, I got a couple on the table that have been donated that are going to be getting reviewed, including this little guy right here. This is a Zieba S2, I believe. Pardon me. Sorry about that. My head tried to kill me there. Anyways, moving along. This guy's got a really interesting, neat little clip. It's something that brings me a lot of joy, just in that it makes it very clear that they're not taking themselves too seriously. And this is a neat little knife. I mean, I think there's a lot of joy to be found in this guy. So I've handled some of Zieba's work, but I've not handled his front flippers. So it should be interesting. Let's see here. Thoughts on the Spyderco Sliverax? Any insight or insights on when it'll come out? No, I don't have any insights on that. What I do have, actually, is a quick little story time. So, Paul Alexander is the designer of the Spyderco Ouroboros and the Sliverax, and he may well have some other stuff in the works. I wouldn't be surprised. But he is a nice guy. He actually lives not too far away from me. I've never met him in person, though, but nonetheless, it's just neither here nor there. But anyways, when I had my Ouroboros, I was searching for a way to replace the Teflon washes that they'd put in it with actual real washes, phosphor bronze or something. And he had the same desire, I gather, and so he had bought some washes and cut them down to fit. And he actually sent me a set of washes along with a very nice little key ring to go with that. And then recently, I actually got a message from him again saying, hey, Nick, if you still got your Ouroboros, I noticed that you'd messed up that lanyard tube a little bit when you did the disassembly. And indeed, I had, because it was peened open at the factory, which was really ugly. He said, I've got an extra couple of lanyard tubes here, and I'd love to send one your way. It pains me, I believe were his words, to know that one of my knives is out there with a damaged tube. That is about as nice as you can get. And certainly, I mean, at some level, it's good business sense to be nice to a reviewer, which I kind of dislike at some level. I wish that there wasn't that artificiality. I'm not accusing him of, but anyways. But it was a really super freaking nice thing to do regardless, especially when I was kind of openly critical about parts of the Ouroboros. So he is a very nice guy, and I am a big, big fan of him as a human. And I'm very much looking forward to the Spyderco Sliverax. That should be an interesting knife there. So yeah. Let's see here. Tristan Heath is asking what my favorite smell is. Tristan, that's a great question. There are a lot of really good smells out there in the world. And, I'll put aside, like, the ones that everybody likes. Like, oh, freshly made Chicago pizza. Sure. Yeah, that's way up there. But a couple come to mind. The lilac. The big freaking bush that's got the purple and the smell in the June or so. They're really freaking incredible. I'm big fan of lilac, and I will hunt lilacs down when they are in bloom so that I can smell them. Slightly less organic is... Hold on. Ah, damn, I could have sworn I had some nearby. Is actually WD-40. This is a water-displacing compound that people often use as a lubricant, but, to clean blades and things like that. Look, WD-40, I'm not saying, like, put it in a bag and smell it. That's going to kill you and kill your brain cells regardless. But, like, the smell of WD-40 is one of the bonuses of using WD-40. And in many ways, I am, I don't know, I'm regularly disappointed that it doesn't work well on a knife. because then I'd get to smell it every time I did a disassembly. So that'd be nice. And high-end colognes, yeah, I am a big fan of Euphoria by Calvin Klein. It's euphoric, if you will. It's nice. Anyways, so that's my scent. So if you're ever walking down the street and you smell a jackass wearing Euphoria with Calvin Klein, and you see him wearing a watch and a knife, and he, is otherwise a jackass, then that's a good way to do it. Tristan Heath is asking what notes it has. It didn't come with a note in the box. Sorry about that. Favorite multi-tool, I'm being asked. That's the Leatherman Wave right here. Never far from me. I've got one in my pack, one on my disassembly desk here, and one otherwise. So there you go. What do I use when my eczema flares up very badly? Let's see here. Alfonso Figueroa is asking that. Look, the thing is, I don't know. I have lost the war against eczema. It's around. I'm gonna see a dermatologist when I can, but at the moment I'm doing okay, which is nice. But it got a little ugly here and there. It's worse in the summertime, but that's completely beside the point there. And David B, there is Euphoria for men. Yeah. Although maybe that's my deep-seated conspiracy. That's hence the small hands. Anyways, don't judge David B. See, Lucas Anderson, I appreciate that. What the hell does it matter if a guy's wearing a men's or a women's cologne? I happen to be wearing the men's version, but still. Shouldn't freaking matter. Moving along there. Probably a bit obsessed. Is that an obsession joke? Because that's pretty excellent. Pen reviews coming up. Josh W. is asking that. Yeah, a couple, actually. Got this little guy. This is the Urban Survival Gear Tie Scribe Bolt, which I've really been enjoying, actually. This is another pen that I need to get on freaking reviewing. I have so much gear I need to freaking get on reviewing. But this guy is very interesting. This is the Keras Customs Decograph. I just literally got this guy in the mail recently, and very interested to check it out. I haven't even inked it yet. It's that soon. In fact, I'm not even sure I can show this off until Friday, but whatever. There it was. And then this little guy is Pilot Metropolitan. Meaning I'm in their early club. Thank you very much to one of my viewers. And so those guys are going to be coming up here soon, pen-wise. And then one of these days I need to do a review of a damn lead holder. It's a specialized kind of mechanical pencil that just makes the whole world better. So, yeah, that's a great question. What was my favorite subject in school? Did I ever take any shop classes? Favorite subject in school? You know, that really... Well, it's a little tough. I think I was a languages guy. That was really what brought me more joy than anything. Like Spanish. Love taking Spanish. But that's beside the point. Thoughts on mirror finished blades from a practical standpoint? Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, mirror finished blades are great, but they're also, you're going to have to be, well, A, they suck as a gear reviewer because you have to wear a Batman mask when you review them, and that's not stellar. Hold on just a second, guys. Just had to turn on a fan because my phone is telling me it's too hot in here or something. But, yeah, physics is also a lot of fun. I mean, acoustics, obviously, is where I ended up. Calculus, I use it, but I don't want to use it. But anyways, so that's beside the point. But mirror finished blades, they're very nice and they're very interesting, but you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning fingerprints off of them. And then, in addition to that, you're going to scratch them up more readily. So it is something you're going to keep in mind. Let's see here. Any up-and-coming makers? I'm looking for knives to review that you can expect to see on the channel. Yeah, actually. So new things that are coming for the channel here soon. Yeah, the Koenig Arius is a knife that I mentioned in my Blade Show video, and will be coming my way. Actually, it may show up tomorrow, depending on the depending on what the USPS decides to do. So that would be kind of cool. And then I'm going to be seeing an Olamic Swish here soon, which should be very interesting. I handled one at Blade Show and was very impressed with it, but it'll be nice to do the actual review. It is huge, absolutely huge, but it's pretty excellent. And what else? New stuff that's coming soon. The Brad Tolk Mini Tolk is going to be Brad Southern Mini Tolk one of these damn days. Olamic Busker, I'm told, is going to be later this fall. Yeah. So there you go. Bunch of people telling me they're lonely. That's sorry to hear that. Hopefully you feel better. life is a lonely place on occasion, but that's okay. You just gotta find like-minded jackasses and revel in the fact that they're out there. Let's see here. We have a knife you think you might be interested in. What would be a good way to contact me? Email me. Actually, go to nickshabazz.com. If you are a gear provider and you want to send me something, go to nickshabazz.com. You'll be able to see there's a whole section in the middle there. I want to send you gear. You'll see my boilerplate. You'll see all that, and it'll give you the email address to do it. So there you go. Let's see here. You just have to wallow on old Nick Shabazz videos as a cure for loneliness. I really hope that works for you. We'll put it that way. Whatever brings you joy, my friend, whatever brings you joy. I've got a rogue assistant, too. Yeah, he keeps me company. I have not heard from that jackass since. Oy, oy, oy. And luckily, I don't think anyone else got burned. I caught that one early. Let's see here. J.J. Abrams for Star Wars 8. Hopefully, that should be interesting. Based on pure functionality, what is the highest it is reasonable to pay for a knife, in my opinion? That's really odd, because the question is, what functionality are you looking for? Because, okay, I mean, if you are just wanting something that will cut something, at a very real level, all you really need is, you know, a $12 open L. I mean, this knife cuts things. Case closed, it locks. Case closed, it's sharp. In many ways, it's a better cutting tool than most of the custom market, because it's so damn thin behind the edge, and it's great in that way. So really, $12 is the all you really need to get something that will cut things. But you may want something a little bit more specific. You can get better ergonomics if you move up to your native, or something like that, or your Delica. You get better carryability, 100%, if you move to a more modern. But then you can get mechanical goodness that is not necessarily functional, but it's something that might bring you joy. And at some level, let's be real here, that's the function of these guys. If I just wanted a knife to cut things, pardon me, I'd get a Delica and I'd be done. Especially if I did like one in ZDP. It's all the knife I'd need, but, you know, these bring me joy. And so that's kind of key. Let's see here, what else? I would love a review of the Nick by the fiancée, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, that would be interesting. Let me talk to her about that. I don't think she would do it. Like, she probably wouldn't film it, but that would be a very interesting video. She might be a little too kind to me, we'll say that, but still, yeah. What has been... wow there. Tristan Heath has just asked a really deep question. What is one of the most valuable lessons I've been taught in life? He said that I have taught him a lot, and he wants to see what has shaped me. Holy crap, Tristan. That went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly there. Let me think about that for a second. Because, look, I mean, at some level, many of the lessons I've learned have not been something that was, like, taught to me explicitly. These have not been something that was, you know, like somebody sat me down and said, Nick, bah, this and that. No, they've been things that I've learned, things that I've experienced. I guess maybe the most valuable thing I can... God, you're killing me here, Tristan. Wow. I think maybe the most important thing that I've been taught, both from the world and from seeing people who didn't know this story, is that you are in charge of your own happiness. At some level, yeah, the world sucks. And parts of it will certainly suck. You'll have bad weeks, you'll have bad months, bad years, bad 10 years, whatever. You will have bad times. And that's awful. But the thing is, you are an independent thing from the world. It'll influence you 100%, but what is left mostly for you is what you make of it. And so if you dwell in the negative, if you just roll around in the crap like a pig in mud, you're gonna be miserable. And that there's nothing that the world can do to change that. Once you have decided to be miserable, you will continue to be so. And unfortunately, there are too many people in my life who have gone that way. Well, in my life, or formerly in it, we'll put. And that's really unfortunate, because then at that point you have just given up on your own happiness. This isn't like the self-help, you can be happy tomorrow. No, your life may still suck tomorrow. But it's a question of whether you are looking at it in terms of, I am in control of my view of the world, I am in control of my emotions, or whether you look at it as, the world is just happening to me, I am being battered by it. And it's easy to feel that way, and certainly makes sense to sometimes, but you just can't let the world dictate how it is that you feel. There's a level of truth in stoicism, and I think that there's a joy there, although there's also a lot of sadness in it. So there you go. God, I hope that was at all coherent and cohesive. But yeah, just don't give in to the ugly, I suppose, is a way to put it there. So yeah, don't give in to the ugly, actually. That pretty much sums it up. God, yeah, that's it. So anyways, there you go. Let's see here. Bunch of people asking for knife recommendations, which is slightly different, but still also very valid in this channel. Let's see here. Mr. Captain is asking, hold on, I gotta ban someone real quick. He's being a dick. You are out of here. Bye now. What the hell? We wanted to learn about knives. Okay, I'm back there. Moving it along there. Sir Galeth is asking thoughts on ArchieLuxury. So ArchieLuxury is a watch guy. And in fact, he is one of the, I don't know about old school, but he's one of the original YouTube watch guys. He is interesting. Like, as a presenter, I don't necessarily care for him. Listening to his stuff, it's a little abrasive for my sake. I'm not a big fan of that. But the thing is, I have to respect him as a performer, as a character actor, and he's come and he said that very explicitly. I listened to an interview with him at one point. I want to say it was with Ariel Adams from Blog to Watch or something. And it was very, very clear to me that this is a man who is thinking, and this is a man who is trying very hard to be interesting, to be entertaining, and I respected very much his perspective, his view, and in many ways he completely carried that interview. That was just him running the show, and then the interviewer was there filling in. And so I respect him a great deal in that way, although personally I don't particularly love his videos, just because the style is a little bit much for me. So, there you go. Yeah. M. Klein is saying my voice sounds different, new microphone. Maybe. It's probably because I have a piece of paper right up above the phone that's helping to block the lighting here, which makes things a little easier for me to read. Let's see here. GameCat is asking about the Booze Blade smoke review. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to post that this weekend. What the heck? I think I'll do the Giant Mouse GM3. I've already added a GM to their lineup there, but I'll do that one on the Saturday, and then probably the smoke on the Sunday. So that should be pretty interesting. I like this knife a freaking lot. This is the production version right here. Yep. So anyways, great question. Aiden Rocks 13 Able is asking me for my opinion on sourdough bread. No, sourdough bread, I'm sorry, it's not working for me. Look, the thing is, I understand that, bread at some level is the sourdough would do it, and a little bit of sourness is fine, but to me, sourdough bread is a lot like eating regular bread, well, getting kicked in the face. It's like, okay, this is great. I am eating bread. But then, like, no, the bread will not be eaten. It's like the mango from Saturday Night Live way back when, like, no, you will not touch the sourdough. It just doesn't do it for me at all. So sourdough to me is like I said, it's bread but unpleasant. And so I think I'll skip it. It's good in a very few cases, but for the most part, no. Alden Kirkwood says you don't like food. Yeah, that's true. Actually, 100%. Let's see here. What is my least favorite knife, says Matthew Smith. That's a really tough one. In some ways, I can think of some custom knives that I handled, and I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to name names, but I can think of custom knives that I handled at Blade and from an entire class, where they were just, they were failing on every single count. And those are my very least favorite knives. Because, like, okay, the Z Hunter is honest with itself. The Z Hunter is telling the world, I am a $3 gas station pocket knife. If you buy me, I will last a solid 3 or 4 weeks, and then I will develop a little bit of blade play, and I will die, and I will try and cut your finger off on the way out of town. To me, that is the most... this is honest, at least. But when you get to some of these and I'm not talking about Medford knives here, actually, because at least, like the Medford Marauder and whatnot, although I don't think it's a great cutting tool, at least it's well made, by and large. The Marauder actually was a step up. I'm talking about other makers who go out there and they bring to, blades something that doesn't cut well, something with a terrible action, with a detent that is just... no, absolutely not. And then they finish it badly, and then they sell it for like $1,500. And people buy them because they're hyped. And so to me, that is my least favorite knife. It's just like ugly. Every part of it is ugly. And yet here they are. And they're just selling it, and I don't know if they buy it or they just know, you know what, people are paying for this crap, so here you go. I don't know, I don't get it. But to me, that is absolutely the worst to me, is not the terrible knives, because they know they're terrible. The thing that's worse to me are the knives that think they're great, but are actually crap. So there you go. Now I got people asking me really controversial questions. People have asked me on a number of occasions controversial questions, like what do you think about religion? What do you think about politics? But this one's maybe worse than most, and that is a hot dog a sandwich? This is really tough for me. I think that there is, at its very basic level, I don't think so, no. To me, a sandwich implies more than the 3 layers. You have bread, you have some protein in the middle there, whether that's meat or whatever, peanut butter, jelly, whatever. But it implies more than the 3 layers. If I just take bread, and meat, or bread, peanut butter, there's something missing there. And so hot dogs, as they are generally configured, are bread, meat, and then condiments on there. I don't see that. If you throw like a layer of cheese in there, like a U-shaped cup of cheese, then maybe you're pushing it. You're getting closer there. Pour some chili on it, then okay. But at that point, you're getting close to casserole. And so I don't believe that a hot dog is a sandwich. Grilled cheese sandwich, but the thing is that requires butter on the outside. So I think but it's pushing it a little bit. Yeah. An open-faced sandwich, Jason L. is saying, is a lie. Yeah, absolutely a freaking lie. Terrible. Terrible, terrible lie. Let's see here. Jake from State Farm's asking about the 2 knives on the far left. This is the Dauntless Hawk, Wee Knives Blitz. Is a Hot Pocket a sandwich? Nope. 100% nope. Let's see here. My take on Bark River Knives, Gretchen Oglethorpe asks. Look, Bark River is a company that makes fixed blades, and I cannot review fixed blades. I've come to this conclusion over and over and over again. And it's not even the fact, guys, a lot of people take it like personal, like, Nick, why, come on, you should like... But the thing is, fixed blade knives make 0 sense in my life. If I could carry a fixed blade knife for something, but it is just fundamentally, for me, for my specific uses, not a good tool. It is not what I need there. It's too big. And so, for me, Nick Shabazz reviewing a fixed blade knife would be a lot like Nick Shabazz reviewing a tampon. I could say things about it, but what the hell do I know? I don't use it. It doesn't make sense to me. And so, that's why I don't review fixed blades. The Killer Clock says, Nick is not a man who would survive outdoors. I don't think that's not an insult. Killer Clock, thank you. Yes, that is true. 100%. I mean, I know basics, but I know. Chances are in the zombie apocalypse, don't be looking out for the YouTube videos. I'm not going to survive that one. I'm okay with that. I am a very specialized tool for a very specialized world. And I've adapted to that world fairly well. But I am not going to be, at survival school. That's not my style. And frankly, no. So that's a really good point. And that's something you have to keep in mind as you're looking at my channel. People will ask me things like, well, how does that knife work for hitting a fire steel? And I'm like, well, I don't freaking know. How does it work for cutting open a unicorn? I didn't do that either. And so, yeah. So I'll hike, I'll day trip, but at the end of the day, I'm not a huge outdoorsy sort of guy. It's just me, I guess. Let's see here. What do I think of? I have no idea what that is. Shopping's best. No clue there. Ichablob asks about mini pry bars. Am I going to review any? No, probably not. I mean, I'll do some pocket tools like this guy, the Rap-Bastard Enigma. Definitely getting reviewed, but it's more useful than just as a pry bar. So there you go. Pardon me, guys. Apple cutters, yeah, unicorn sandwich. Well, the thing is not if you put it in a bun with just the unicorn in there. It's important. Any interest in reviewing key organizers? Yeah, I carry a key bar every day. I used to carry a Key Smart. Key bar is way better than the Key Smart. But I'll be reviewing that once I review any of these other 50 things that are on my desk right now for review. I have a backlog that is just incredible. I'm a very lucky man. But anyways, so that's definitely there. Do not cut open unicorns, guys. Do not misinterpret that. If you find a unicorn and you make a hot dog out of it, I'm going to be pissed off at you. Seriously. Be kind to it. Give it, I don't know, freaking whatever unicorns eat. Sparkle grass or something. I don't freaking know. Find out, Google what do unicorns eat, and feed him. Then give him a nice, show him a nice time. Show him around the city or something. So, yeah. Anyways, moving along. The only person who kills unicorns is Voldemort. Exactly. Do you want to be like freaking Voldemort? No, you do not. Case closed. Let's see here. All kinds of unicorn jokes now. Bunch of people asking about the Meerkat. Like I said, when this finishes posting, just circle back and watch the beginning. I talked all about that now. God, now I want sparkle grass. Oh, yeah, that's probably a drug, isn't it? I don't know. Like pot laced with something. Freaking no clue. And now all the horny jokes off of the unicorns. Walked right into that one. Oy, guys. You'd think at this point I would understand what I am saying, but I do not. Nick is our unicorn. Oh, that's adorable. Little Norseman sticking off the head. Whoa, face reveal there. Whoops. People are saying names. Oh, I said Voldemort's name. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Let's see here. Thoughts on Wee knives, price. As soon as they get the screws right, they're going to be great. Need a suggestion for a $300 to $400 flipper that's not huge. I mean, there were a billion options for you there. $300 to $400, not huge. Flippers. Spyderco dice comes to mind. Not terribly huge there. Let's see here. What else? Yeah, I'm probably going to need to edit that. I don't know. We'll see. Leave it in there. Whoops. What other good small flippers are out there? No clue. Check my gems list. Those are the ones I'll suggest, generally speaking. If I had to EDC just one of these knives, what would I pick? This guy, probably. Out of all of them, I think I like this one the most. I love the action on it. I think it's a nice cutting tool. It's sharp. It's quality. Like I said, I don't love the clip, but there is a lot to love here. And so, tomorrow, in terms of EDC, I will be EDCing this guy. Case closed, problem solved, because I need to review it next. But in some ways, this is calling to my heart. I bought this guy, though, so unfortunately, he kind of has to go to the back of the list. Because, I want to get loaners home before I can review new stuff that I got. Let's see here. Dear Baloney's asking if this is the knife channel. Yes, it is, although he's asking it in German, which is kind of different there. People are talking about Simpsons versus Family Guy. That's interesting. Plans for a full Anthem review. Absolutely. Yet another of the reviews I need to air. Yeah, absolutely going to be doing that. Just needs to have more time, that's the thing. People are debating their very favorite comedy shows in the channel now. Simpsons, South Park, and Family Guy are all coming up. I am a big fan of all of them. Grew up on The Simpsons. Absolutely 100%. It kind of trailed off there towards the end. About the time no, wasn't Maud Flanders, was it? No, it was the Reverend's. No, it was more. Either way, somebody died and it just jumped the shark. Family Guy, I think they're trying to kill it at this point, but started off very good and I think continued to be so. With some classic characters. South Park, oh, be still my heart. Big fan of South Park. So yeah, Arch is good. I'm a big fan, but for me, comedy-wise, you're going to be hard-pressed to beat Parks and Rec or The Office. They just really do it for me. 100%. Although Seinfeld's great. Although Seinfeld is at this point, like, I've been rewatching Seinfeld lately. Like, the entirety of that show, like, every episode would be completely negated with the existence of cell phones. Like, every show is a joke about not being able to have a cell phone. It's kind of funny. Gretchen is asking me if I go to raves. No, unfortunately I do not. I'm a big electronica fan, and I should go to raves, but I do not. Yeah, no. It's not quite my style. I'm a little bit more introverted, I think, than that. I don't do drugs, which is another problem. I don't do drugs, I am drugs. To quote Salvador Dali, one of my probably my favorite artist, by the way. No one asked, but... yeah, and so I never really fit in well at raves, so I just sit at home and I listen to electronica and rock out in my own way. And screw with my students by putting weird electronica on when they walk into the room, just to mess with them. Sam Williams asking my favorite comedian. Mitch Hedberg was great. George Carlin, also great. Of people who are still alive, Patton Oswalt's pretty excellent, 100%. Big fan of his. He just has me dying on a regular basis. And Nick only does WD-40 and Unicorn. Oy. Jasper Lyons is asking, what knife company would I want to work with to make my own knife? The thing is, I'm just not a skilled knife designer. Like, I know that I cannot make a knife. I mean, I can sketch things, but I don't have that art in me. That's not my art. And so what I could maybe do is, like, collaborate to improve a design, or collaborate with somebody to do that, but I am not a knife maker. I know that. I cannot be a knife maker. And at some level, I'm an asshole for even talking about it. It went my advertising revenue, whatever. But I'm a jackass for even talking to people about, you know, this is what you should be doing differently, because I can't do what they're doing anyways. You know, it's like me walking into a kitchen and saying to the chef, hey, jackass, put more salt in it. Like, you went to culinary school, but at a very real level, though, I can look at these as functional objects, give my opinions. So, yeah. That said, David B. says very insightfully, I feel like Nick would hate any knife he makes because he would see even the most minute flaws, even if everyone else thought it was a gem. That's true. And that's something that disappoints me. These days, it's increasingly hard for me to love something. Because I see so regularly so many little flaws. And so when a knife comes along that has relatively few of them, at some level I am primed to attack, and so I try very hard to pull that back. To give credit where due, and to remember that other people have different opinions. I've had that stretched very recently, with a recent knife that really drove me up a freaking wall. But, yeah. Something important to say there. Jerry before Seinfeld will be on Netflix soon. Hey, nice. Excellent. Lots of YouTubers are upset about their revenue being pulled. Yeah, that's a thing. Thank God for Patreon, I'll just say that much. Raffle assigned Z Hunter on Reddit for Hurricane Charity. Yeah, I mean, anybody who pays more than $3 is getting ripped off. But sure, maybe I can do that. It's not a bad idea. Actually, it's not a bad idea at all. But I think enough of them are out there that it's not so important. Let's see here. Do I remember my very first knife, Nick? Yes, I do. It was a Cub Scout knife, actually. It was their little... I don't even know who made it. It was like blue with fake jigged bone on the side, some acrylic thing. It locked open using the little disc in there. Felt like a total badass carrying that. Yeah, I had that guy up until... like 6 or 7 years ago, and I sold it because I'm an idiot. I really never should have done that. That was a stupid plan for me, but whatever. Yeah, that was my very first knife there. Kyle Bielafield asks, can we all come and take one of your classes? That'd be fun. But alas, no. This is the closest I'm going to do to a YouTube lecture. Yeah. Thoughts on the Tie Scribe? Great freaking pen. A lot of joy here. My opinion on Shirogorov, I like a lot of what they're doing. I wish they were better distributed, like more people in the States, but whatever, is what it is. Actually, guys, it's now 63 minutes into this live chat, and so in deference to my larynx, I am going to go on ahead and start to wrap things up here. So, guys, thank you so very much for joining in. All 155 of you, holy crap. And I hope that this has been interesting to you, that you got interesting Snick previews of a lot of these, because there was a lot of joy right here on this table. I mean, new screws, new lock, which is just great, incredible slice-a-tude, complete ridiculousness. This guy is honestly kind of neat, which is a lot of fun there, the Meerkat. Yeah, there's so much joy to be found out there, so go find it. I guess I'll wrap up with that. Thinking back to that question that was asked earlier, yeah, don't give in to the ugly. Let yourself see the joy, and that comes back to some of the other things I've been saying. In anything that comes up in your life, find the joy rather than the ugly. There's a lot of ugly out there. It'll present itself, but find the joy. Hope this has been interesting to you guys, that you had fun with it, and that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. And tomorrow morning, keep an eye out for my disassembly and maintenance video on the Giant Mouse GM3. Should be fun, and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. Go watch some Seinfeld. Bye now.